Asema say here no say mo ha no ne gire ni ma obi a no ama mahama babie o dey say na for nana and this for many awu.
All right, thank you for staying with us. You're watching the AM show. Of course, this is your election headquarters. Let's talk about a matter that has still not been resolved. In fact, we actually don't even know how this is going to go. And I'm referring to the disruptions in flight operations because of essential services being withdrawn by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. This matter came up strongly yesterday because some flights were disrupted, and I'm talking about domestic flights. Maxwell Agbagba is my colleague. He followed this story in detail yesterday. He's got some fresh updates also for us. Maxwell, let's go back to the beginning because you chanced on a letter that the GCAA, that's the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, sent to domestic flight operators. Telling them exactly what?
Well, informing them of the strike that would take place on the 12th of October. That was Wednesday, yesterday. And as part of the reasons why they said they were going to embark on the strike, one was because they said the activities of encroachers are disrupting, communications with the airline companies. And we understand that already some of the airline companies have complained about how difficult it is to get in touch with air control, services. With the GCAA, they have workers manning that. They say sometimes it's really difficult, and sometimes also there are interruptions in the communications. And the GCAA workers say that they believe that it is as a result of the, activities of encroachers, very close to their navigational aids and some of their surveillance systems. They think that that is the reason why the airlines, are complaining, and they feel and fear that if action is not taken now, it could, it could end up in some kind of accident, and and they really want to avert that. In fact, in that statement, they listed some top, personalities or politicians who they think are also, behind it. In fact, when I had interactions with the local union chairman of the GCA workers, he told me categorically that he thinks that the Lands Commission and the Ministry of Lands, they are complicit, in the sale of the, they are complicit in the illegal sale of the aviation lands. So as part of pressing home, their demands, three things they are asking for. They say that government should move in and stop the sale of the aviation lands.
Okay.
Secondly, also they want an executive instrument issued by government. That the lands and the leases and all of those things should be issued in the name of the GCAA, and then a couple of other demands also. But we understand that yesterday they were trying to resolve the matter, but they couldn't resolve it properly. Okay,
so let's just go back a little bit. This action in terms of the withdrawal of these essential services, because without what they provide, the airlines can't work.
Exactly.
What time did this start?
Okay, so it was supposed to start in the morning, but they gave the authorities and other stakeholders an ultimatum to make sure that they get a concrete, solution to the matter by 12. So as at 12 p.m., we understand that the meeting had not concluded, properly. So they were still considering. 2 p.m., they were still considering. And then 4 p.m., 5 p.m., then we started getting information from domestic passengers that they are stranded on the tarmac. They've been in the aircraft for a very long time, and that is because the GCAA workers, are on strike. This we understand only affected domestic flights, but as part of their plans, they're actually thinking of escalating it, to affect international, flights as well. So for now, it was just domestic,
okay,
flights.
Right. So you had interactions, but you also went around.
Yeah.
Explain what you saw in terms of why they think that the lands are being encroached upon.
Well, if you go to a place like Lankwanta 9 in an area very close to Ashalibutwe, you could clearly see that private developers, are gradually, taking over the lands. Some of them put in structures very close to the GCAA installations. And we are told that if that happens, what it means is that sometimes, the signals can be blocked. Signals, crucial signals that have to be sent to, pilot and all those things could be blocked by some of these high-rise, buildings. In fact, at Ashalibutwe, we saw some people on site busily working. And I'm told that all attempts
working,
to get them,
what kind of work?
They were putting up structures.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm told that all attempts to get them, to stop have actually proven
Who
futile.
attempts stopping them?
Well,
because these are workers, right?
Exactly.
What category of workers went on this action yesterday?
So it's a coalition of GCAA workers. So we have professionals from different fields all coming together to form that coalition of GCAA workers. So all of them, some of them actually were the ones that provided the essentials. So for instance, those in charge of air traffic control, for instance, they withdrew their services yesterday. So that's why it was difficult for any domestic aircraft, to leave, the tarmac yesterday. It was difficult.
It's a curious question because they're higher authority.
Exactly.
And I'm wondering, because if anybody has to take some action, it would come from them. Did they explain if their bosses were reluctant in enforcing or taking action?
Well, from our interactions with the workers, they seem to come to an end sort of for them. They feel that nobody is really listening to them because they say that they've exhausted all means to get this issue resolved, to the extent of petitioning the chief of staff on many occasions. They said they've been to the lands ministry, they've petitioned the lands minister, the aviation minister. They've talked about this over and over again, but it looks like no help is coming from anywhere, and that's why they had to resort to this strike to forcefully drum home the points that they are making.
Okay.
And in fact, yesterday we understand that the aviation minister was at the airport. We understand the labor minister was also at the airport. The national security minister was also at the airport, we're told. The deputy interior minister was also at the airport, but other, top people there purposely to, to resolve the matter because passengers were stranded. On the time.
What are your sources telling you? Were they able to resolve it?
Well, we understand the meeting went deep into the night, and one of the people I spoke to told me that he got home around 12 a.m. So that was the only time that they decided that, okay, let's go back to work. We're going back to work, but at 10 a.m. They have a meeting with the chief of staff. And they are saying that they are hoping that the meeting with the chief of staff will resolve all the issues and then bring some kind of finality to the matter. They say that if their demands are not met, what is going to happen is that they're going to go back. Going back means that they're going to withdraw the essential services like we saw yesterday. And what it means is that for domestic flight passengers, they're going to be stranded. So we're just monitoring that meeting closely to see what the outcome, of that meeting will be. We pray that it goes well. If it doesn't go well, we would have to endure the inconvenience that it will pose to us.
Just before you leave, though, there are some persons that you did mention that the workers weren't held accountable.
Yeah.
And they mentioned, for instance, the former aviation minister, Cecilia Dapal, the current aviation minister. They also put his name as part of the, and then they also mentioned even directors. So what have they done exactly? Did they explain?
Well, they think that they are in a position to halt all that is happening on the lands, but they feel that they've really not done enough to, to end the encroachments, on their lands.
Okay.
So they're saying that if anything happens, they should be held, responsible. And in yesterday, for instance, we were at East Legon, just, going around monitoring. And it's shocking how people have even constructed, like high-rise buildings, coming up in a flight path, at East Legon, very close to the tunnel. And when the flight is coming down, yesterday I saw Ethiopian Airlines just coming down, and you could see that you don't have to be an aviation safety expert to be able to tell that, this is, dangerous, but that is happening in a place like East Legon, and we are monitoring that closely, and we're putting together, something comprehensive. We'll bring it out.
Interesting. They mentioned the immediate past Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, as well as the board chairman of the Ghana Civil Aviation. So one can understand why they are now taking this independent action away from the people that they at least see should be protecting the interests of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. Exactly. We wait to see how this goes in terms of the meeting this morning and whether or not there will be another action. You can see in your shots there, these are all parts of the lands they claim belong to the Civil Aviation Authority, or at least the government of Ghana, and to be used for the purposes of aviation services. But there's also the angle of the owners of the land, the original owners of the land, which is also brewing.
Yes. So yesterday, when this information went out, we got calls from the last two, the original owners of the land, and they also have a point to make. It was a long conversation and a long talk about how they gave them the land for the purposes of aviation, but they feel that they are drifting from that, and they're using it for private development and not aviation purposes.
I guess
so that's why they want to take over the land.
We give you the lands for a certain purpose, and if you're not using it for it, you have to revert it to us, and you can't give it to private people. Well, very interesting how this is playing out. But it's also a very crucial time. This is a period that issues must be resolved. It's like a must be resolved. So if the parties will hold on to their positions and ensure that this will be resolved, then I guess we would come to a quicker conclusion. But Maxwell Agbagba, thank you very much. We'll leave you to keep following this matter, and Maxwell will be bringing us updates as and when we have new development on this. When we come back, we're talking about the JoyNews Habitat Fair, which we're doing it in partnership with EcoBank, the 2020 edition. We've got the first clinic coming up at the West Hills Mall just this weekend. We've been having exciting conversations, giving you reasons to be there at the Habitat Fair. It's just the one place where there's no pressure. You just relax, go around and look at what our exhibitors are offering, and it ranges from, if you don't have a land at all, there's an opportunity to own a land. There's also an opportunity, if you want a completed building, for you to negotiate and get good deals. And if you're building yourself, then we've got products from our exhibitors that will help you finish that building. So it's pretty simple. And the reason we choose the West Hills Mall, so you can come with the entire family and have a family time whilst you also look around and get good deals to finish that house that you perhaps started, or own a house, or get a new investment. So when we come back, we've got two of our sponsors who are also exhibiting, joining us for a conversation. Stay with us.